There's a system that's
Just
already been.
Hey, we're live, by the way.
It's getting warmed up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cubist. My name is Bill Corey. I am the Cubist, and I'm on the road, as you can tell. This is not even close to Cubist Central, but that's all right. Here we are back on YouTube while we still try to figure stuff out, and let's do this. I have almost the entire crew. We came so close. Brandon Kemp is here. Hi, Brandon.
Hello, Bill. How are you?
I feel like
I gotta ask, why are you in Norfolk?
I am in Norfolk, Virginia for a work trip. The company that I work for is doing a staging gig for, let's see, the Southeastern Association of School Board Officials, I believe it is what it is.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't really know either. So
I just saw all the ships and it reminded me of my time there, and I was like, wow, why would anyone go to Norfolk that doesn't have to go to Norfolk?
I don't know, because I get to see the USS Wisconsin, which is
you did see the Wisconsin.
Yes. It's pretty all right. Kimberly Revia, your video is frozen on a truly excellent surprise face over here, and that makes me very happy. How you doing?
I'm so happy.
That sounds amazing. Very good. Patrick Gillier, hi. How's it going?
Great. I'm doing excellent. Haven't been on the show in a while.
I know. I'm excited to get back to the full, basically, complement of people. This is going to be fun. We haven't done a show with a lot of us in a long time. So
I'm sorry. Who are you again?
I'm Bill. Last time I checked, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot of pink-haired people on Board Game YouTube, so that works. All right, tonight this episode's called "Don't Call It a Comeback." We are talking about games that we think need reprints. And we will talk more about that and how we got the inspiration for this topic and everything in just a hot second. But first, as always, Kimberly's favorite segment of the show, the "What Have We Played Lately?" We always push for this specifically when Kimberly's on here. But
there's
a bingo square for you.
There you go.
Good night, Gabby.
Good night, Gabby. Brandon, have you successfully sent your child to bed?
No. He's not listening.
He's not listening because he's talking to his child.
Oh,
yes, I'm talking to the child who soon thinks that she's going to be driving.
Oh my God, I saw that. No. I mean, I went prom dress shopping with mine yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I just kind of skipped right past.
I take fine drinking, so.
That's a good point.
Damn, that got old. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right?
It's like we don't do the show for like a couple of weeks, and then boom.
And for the record, Kimberly, you're not immune either. Your youngest looks like a tiny little teenager right now.
Wow. Oh, I know. Yeah, she looks older than the big one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she does.
Just in the face.
We're going to ramble a lot, I suspect, tonight, folks, just because we haven't chatted. We haven't gotten a chance.
Oh my goodness!
What? Holy crap!
What?
It's a one Eric Buscamemi.
Awesome. And we can't hear him talk.
What is that?
Hello.
Hello.
Eric Buscamemi.
Hi, I heard all the other hosts were going to be on, so I just want to pop by. I can't stay on, but I'll hang out for like 5 minutes. Hi, guys.
Okay.
Hi.
Do you have a game that you played recently that you want to talk about?
No, let's just talk for the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
We've already done that, Kimberly.
We already did that.
But we did not have Eric Buscamemi yet. Eric, what things have your children done that make them seem real old now?
I just took my son to see Endgame, which I know Patrick was railing about online because my son is 6.
He was a grumpy old man last night.
That being said, my son sat through the whole movie, didn't pee once. The only point
you took him a big cup, didn't you?
No, I stopped letting him drink at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Gotcha. I did the same thing.
Dehydrate.
The only point he said anything to me. He just asked, "What's Lebowski?"
Okay.
And I won't give anyone any context.
Yet, so don't ruin anything.
But it's the Big Lebowski. It has nothing to do with Endgame.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's amazing. Nice. I just read a Twitter thread about people freaking out about spoilers, and I think that whole thing is kind of funny. We won't spoil anything on the show, but
no.
Everybody, calm down, you guys.
I just think it's kind of a rude thing to do, but yes.
It is. It is absolutely.
Yeah,
I just think people flipping out about it is a little bit much too. But whatever. This is coming from the guy that hasn't seen Age of Ultron or Infinity War, and so therefore isn't going to be seeing this movie for a good long while. So there you go. All right, Eric, do you want to talk about a game real fast before we go?
I would love to, and I will pick a game that another one of our co-hosts actually recommended to me, and he told me, "Oh, is that what you were going to talk about?"
Yeah, but that's fine. We'll cover it.
You can both do it.
we'll tag team. So Brandon says to me, he's like, "Oh, I just ordered this game from Germany like 2 days ago. It looks like it's something that would be up your alley." So I'm not big on importing stuff, but it looked like it wasn't going to come here, and it was language independent. So I grabbed it. It's a little rolling. There's no rolling. Flip and fill.
Flip and fill.
Is that what we're calling them now?
Yes.
Yeah. And I ordered it, and I was like, "Oh man, it says I'm not going to get it for like a month and a half." And he's like, "Well, I paid a few dollars more, but I'm going to get it in like 2 weeks." And then like a week and a half later, I was like, "Oh, it just came in the mail. Have you got yours yet?" And he's like, "No." So
Mine just showed up today. So.
I actually played it like 3 times before I even got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of the game, and it's pretty abstract, but there's all these cards.
Silver and gold, by the way.
It is called Silver and Gold.
Yes, Phil Walker Harding. It's a Phil Walker Harding design called Silver and Gold.
Phil Walker Harding of Sushi Go, right?
Yeah, Sushi Go, Baron Park.
Oh, Baron Park.
Imhotep.
Cacao.
Cacao too. It's got all these little cards, and they're made up of squares. And then the flip card, those are the island cards. My backup here.
Yeah.
And then show the other cards with the tetrominoes on them.
So like that.
So there's 8 of those, and then every round you flip 7 of them, and then whatever the shape makes, you get to cross out that shape square on the island. Mm-hmm. And the object is to fill in the islands, and you fill in the islands, you get points. But there were also little things on the islands, like the gold coin gets you extra bonus points, the X's let you cross out additional spots, and the palm trees give you a different kind of bonus points. So there's a little comboing, and there's a little whoever gets the coins first gets bonuses. So you want to grab palm trees when there's palm trees available on offer, because then that gives you more points. So the whole game plays in like 15-20 minutes. It plays over 4 rounds, so that's 7 card flips 4 times. So 20 you're doing 28 things all game. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's like a perfect weeknight game to play with my wife. We've already played it twice. I've played it with my daughter. She liked it. And it's perfect because, like I said, it takes 15-20 minutes. But you are making some interesting decisions with the spatial elements and what to do with the different bonuses, which ones you want to go for first. And there's also when you finish an island, you could pick another one, and there'll be 4 in the middle, and some of them are smaller, they're worth less points, bigger ones more points, and then the different bonuses you can go different ways. So there's still enough to think about where you don't feel like you're just doing a dumb activity, but you're actually playing a strategy, game.
Yep. And the cool thing you didn't mention really is that these cards are dry erasable. So this is the entire game.
Isn't any playing card dry? Literally, playing card dry erasable?
Think so.
Anyone that's not the the fabric,
like
the linen finish. Oh, I thought any glossy card would be.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't want to try it either.
Yeah, because they do make a point in the rules to tell you to only mark on one side. The other side is not. So I don't know.
Speaking of that, the first time I marked the back of a because the back of the card shows the exact same thing. It's just darker. Brandon,
you mean just the score sheets?
Yeah. Now flip it over.
Yeah.
See how it's the same thing, but it's just dark. And then I was like, oh, this is like so hard to see. And then after we played, I flipped it over. I'm like, I am an idiot.
Yep. So the whole thing is just self-contained in a nice little deck like that.
Yep, and it comes with 4 decent dry erase markers too,
like regular human-size ones, not the little bitty things you get in the Schmidt-Spiel games.
It doesn't come with an eraser or a little felt, thing though.
No, or English rules, but
Well, the English rules are available on Board Game Geek. And I printed them out, and they were already sized to be for the box. So I actually cut them out and made a little rule book for but then again, I feel like I'll never need to look at the rules ever again now that I know how to play. So there's not a lot of edge cases or exceptions in this game. It just is what it is.
It is.
Very cool.
And it was like $13 or $14 shipped.
Oh, that's a really good deal.
For
Use the
that
Amazon.
price, I say buy it. And this was on Amazon DE, so you will have to deal with that. But again, I just had it shipped right to my house here. It wasn't like the hassle I had to get through to get modern art here.
Yeah, you didn't have to have a PO box for it.
Yeah, I basically had that one smuggled here like it was black tar heroin. But
Okay, but later off the show, can you tell me how to get this black tar heroin modern art? Because I also would like that.
Yeah.
Yes, it involves setting up a German PO box.
Yeah, it's basically just a in between shipper. They
Okay.
and they'll ship it to there, and then they'll ship because it's all good.
Is this
We
one
can
of the
explain.
cool versions of modern art?
It's the Oink. It's the Oink version,
Yes,
which
that's
is
the one I want.
amazing. Yes,
Yes. All right, we're gonna chat.
you got it.
I was gonna ask
It's
Andrew
hard
because I
to
think he had
describe
it.
how ridiculous we probably sound to everybody that isn't us about this. Like, really? You go through that much work for a copy of a game you can definitely get in 12 different editions?
Yeah, but have
without
you
having to do this?
have
They're
you seen
collectors,
like
you know?
how ugly the
get
Simon
it.
version is?
No, but the Simon one is also out of print now. It's just out of print,
really?
and I don't own it.
And I take a little umbrage with you saying that that's ugly.
You could take all the umbrage you want. I'm right.
The
I
French
like
version
the
is
old
ugly.
super ugly
Does
one.
But it's like
Does this need to be reprinted?
it revels.
No, there's like 53 different versions.
it
I know.
revels in its ugliness.
It's actually a really neat thing because basically any country they localize it and use art
Yeah.
and things like that. So there's like
Sure.
hundreds of random copies of it somewhere.
So on the Cubist scale, what would you guys rate silver and gold?
Oh, I would say, like I said, for $13-14, it's just a buy it. Like
It's
I
a
mean,
buy it, yeah.
honestly, it's easier to just buy it and try it. And if you don't like it, you can trade it. It'll fit in a tiny little small buy. There's the very low risk, high reward with this one.
I will go out on an edge and on the cliff here and say that this will be a nomination for the SDJ.
Mm-hmm. I have a quick question. How does it compare to Scarabia? It seems kind of similar.
I would not. I mean, I would say it compares more along the lines of the roll and write type games than and I say this as someone that likes Scarabia, but also then again, I prefer Scarabia solo. It's a nice solo puzzle. You can't play silver and gold solo.
No.
Okay.
It's 2 to 4.
I think it looks a little bit like Cartographers.
I played that one.
I have not.
I
played
haven't.
that
I've got
either.
the PNP for that one, and I never have printed it out. So
It's a fun one. It's a flip and flip or whatever.
Yep.
Flip and fill. It's in the world.
Flip and Phil Walker Harding.
Oh,
goodness.
That one was too far, Patrick. You've gone too far.
Did I?
Oh, Patrick's got the roll and write stuff.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Eric was willing to do that because he knows he's leaving in 3 minutes. So he doesn't carefully do it in. That's how that works.
Hey,
the
before
record,
Eric leaves, I wanted to do
it-
my pick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
we're
it
gonna
up,
do your
Patrick.
pick for hot second pick. Can
Hey, I know
clarify?
I'm going way back to Granite Game Summit. And we talked about it on our show, but since it's in the possible reprint category, which is this half of the pile, I was going to talk about Cleopatra and the Society of Architects, which we played with Brandon Rojas, who's in the chat room.
Yeah,
and that was part of our calibration.
I'm just going to steamroll you for a second and say that Brandon Rojas made that game by not realizing the one critical rule. Thank you, Brandon. That was such a funny moment, even though it meant you lost.
Can you just shout out for me that I did explain the rule?
Oh, you did.
All right, thank you. So the sweet point of this game is that you have the option to do bad things, corrupt and gain corruption. And you get these little tokens that you put in these little cardboard pyramids. And the game is just blinged out of just tons of plastic.
It's so much plastic.
It's back in the days of
monochromatic beige plastic.
Yes. You know me and my love of beige. And you're building this temple for Cleopatra. You're the architect building this temple for Cleopatra. And I'm an idiot. You're allowed to say that? Yeah. And so anyway, it's one of the key things in the game is that you can do these corrupt actions on these cards and like take extra actions and get extra stuff, but you take these corruption tokens, you put them in your little pyramid. But at the end of the game, the person who has the most of those tokens, period, ends, dies, can't win. There's no coming back from that. And I really try to make sure that
you even mentioned that thematically they're eaten by crocodiles.
Yeah, they're
I remember that.
It says it in the rules, right? And so we're playing, and me and Eric are like working really hard not to take them. And there's this thing on the top of the board where you can play and take back some of your tokens. So I think we had like 3 each, maybe by the end of the game. And Tall Nick was playing with us. I forget how many he had. And Brandon pulls off his thing and goes, "Look, I've got 85 tokens," or something like that. But that offsets by my points.
I think I got enough points that I could cover it.
Yeah, it'll cover it.
Everyone just looked over them like, you can't cover auto loss, Brandon.
Brandon's so cute.
And I'm just like, yeah, I did explain that rule to you, right? Anyway, so theoretically, that was a great experience. It's one of my favorite Cthulhu games. And theoretically, it is getting a reprint, and I've seen some videos and stuff about it, but I've not actually seen it anything other than like some.
It's not just a reprint too, because they're changing some of the rules.
You're right. You sent me that video. They are tweaking some of the rules and they're changing it. So I'm glad to see it is coming out because it's a great game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like in the near future. So
I have always wanted to score a copy of that game, and I think that might be that one and Tzolk'in are neck and neck for games that I could see myself actually painting.
Yeah.
Right? Like I still haven't done anything with my gears I still haven't done my Tzolk'in gears. My friend Kimberly said she was going to do them for me and then never did.
Well, I can Sharpie them. I said I don't paint. I'll Sharpie things.
There you go. That's fine. And then
I'm happy to dip it in like a can of paint for you. Whole thing one color.
That's very exciting. I'm sure the gears will work super great.
Just get a whole bunch of colors and then just spin them really fast and see how it comes out.
Oh, my kids have one of those things.
Yep.
Patrick, Saturday I did a similar thing in Gugong, so don't feel bad, Brandon.
Okay.
I had never played it before, and there's that center track that you have to go up or you're dead. You have to be at the top by the end of the game. Somehow I missed that, and our new friend that we made that day, we're like 3 turns away from the end, went around, and he's like, I went to go do something, and he said, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And I was like, yeah, I was going to collect, move my little camel guy or whatever it is, and my horse around and collect things. I was like, yeah, I've got this, and then I'm going to, and he was like, right, but you literally can't even place in the game because you're not going to finish if you don't go up that track. And I was like, oh my God, I had just neglected it entirely. I had gone up like twice on accident and just ignored it because my brain forgot about it. So my last 3 turns of the game were just Hail Mary moves to get up that track, which I managed, but obviously came in last.
That happens.
Yeah.
I think we could do an entire episode about rules we've gotten wrong and the results that have followed.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I think that would actually be kind of cool. We could almost dovetail it with like a house rules episode. Would be a lot of fun. I like that. Very cool. All right, so Cleopatra that's the game you wanted to talk about that you played, and what are we rating it?
It's definitely buy it. I mean, I love it. Paul also mentioned it has a really interesting mechanic in it that I've not seen. Somebody's mentioned it somewhere else, but I haven't seen it anywhere else, where you take this deck of cards and you flip it over and you shuffle half of them together, so half of them are face up and half of them are face down.
Oh, that's right.
And you make 3 little piles, and as these draw piles grow, you're grabbing from these draw piles, and sometimes you don't know if you're getting good cards, bad cards. It just adds a little intrigue to the game as you're drawing from them.
That's the first game that I ever remember playing with people where they were, how people get twitchy the first time they play a legacy game and you tell them they're going to have to tear things apart or like write on things or whatever. Cleopatra and the Society of Architects is the first game I ever played where somebody got freaked out because they could not bring themselves to shuffle the cards with some of them the wrong way. It bothered them so much that they're like, I can't even do it. Can you do it? And just handed me. I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Let me interject. Speaking of legacy, so we got through. We started finishing up Pandemic Legacy Season 2. We got through the first half of December this week.
Nice,
but we couldn't finish. We have 1/2 of 1 freaking month to go. We got to get together for that. And we're miserable. We are so freaking miserable. We hate it. But we're doing it just to finish it.
I think that seems to be everybody playing a campaign game that I know at the moment is like, God damn it, we just need to finish this, but I have no desire to play this freaking game.
I am happy to report that my Gloomhaven group is still going strong and excited and planning like 2 sessions ahead.
Yeah, give it time.
Hey, man, how's Betrayal Legacy going?
We're proud.
What's that?
How's Betrayal Legacy going?
Dead. That game is dead to me.
I am currently using my Betrayal Legacy to lift my laptop up. It's still.
I was moving stuff and that box was on top, and I just let it fall to the floor and left it there. It's still sitting there.
All right.
I have
this
a group
bodes well.
On that,
I have a group that's desperate to start Betrayal Legacy, and I'm like, "Great!" And they're like, "Yeah, we really want you to be the 5th."
If you like Betrayal, you'll like it. I don't
know that I've ever played a full game of Betrayal.
Yeah, I don't think I ever will.
We'll all find out.
On that note, friends, I have to disappear, but it was great seeing you all.
Good night. It's good to see you.
Great to have the Cubist back.
I'll see you in the morning sometime.
We got the band all together for at least a few minutes. I love it.
Later.
Good night, Eric.
Good
night.
All right.
We should have mocked him for his track lighting. Anyway.
Nice. Kimberly, we went 20 minutes. It's too long for the first game thing, so you don't have to do one. How about that?
That's fine.
Or do you want
I actually have a thing I can read on my phone, but I can also do that next week.
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it next week?
We can do it next week. I don't care.
All right. Save it. That way you don't have to come up with a new one next week. It'll be great. All right.
Okay, I'm just going to do scrunchy faces over here at myself.
That's fine. We're used to that. It's cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about reprints. There are this was inspired in two reasons that this topic came up. Number one, when we did the feedback episode last week, it was suggested in the chat. If I recall correctly, Chad in the chat, because we have to call him Chad in the chat, right? He specifically said he would like to see an episode on this, so that's part of why it's here. And secondly, there was an article written by a regular guest on the show, Chris Ray, about it on opinionatedgamers.com. So 2 different sources telling us that this would be a fun thing to talk about. Let's go.
Now, in fairness, that's 2 different sources that spent a week and a half together, like about 2 weeks ago. So
right. Yeah. I'm sure that that's part of where this whole thing is coming from. But I'm all right with that. This is, look, here's the deal. We're going to be really hard pressed to come up with a topic that no one has ever talked about in the history of board game media.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep if we're just.
Excuse me, never once have we done my suggested board game butts. Never even one time.
Board games don't have butts.
I would like you.
Board gamers have butts.
Oh,
the butts of board gaming.
There you go.
So we want to do an entire show where we review board gamer butts?
I didn't say review butts, Bill. That's rude.
Or we just stand with our butts on the camera.
Like I still have one. Do you still have one? Yes, I still have a butt. Okay, good. Exactly. Yay, we did it. All right.
What about like crack at conventions? And I mean butt crack, not drugs.
All right.
Off the rails.
We're off the rails. But let's just say this. First off, next week would be the first Monday of May. And the first Monday of the month is supposed to be an After Dark. So we will officially nominate next Monday as we're going to talk about Board Gamer Butts. You will get your episode. Although I might review
It'll be After Dark, though.
I mean, I'm just a board gamer ass. But
that too. That was what the tie-in was going to be: asses and board gaming.
Well, there you go.
That's whatever. Be the After Dark.
Don't they have those in Finca?
I guess they have peaches. Yeah.
No, it's the little donkeys pulling the cards.
Yep. Oh.
Okay. In that case, Kashgar is board game asses. That works too. All right. So we will discuss butts next week. How about that? But
that
for
now,
Brandon, on the bright side, you have 7 days to come up with a reason why you can't make the show next week. So it'll be fine.
No, you have 7 days to think of a way to tie the word butts into a thing.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Exactly.
The chat room is suddenly very silent.
Yeah, the chat room is like, I don't understand what's going on.
They're looking forward to this for next week.
Of course they are. Of course they are. All right, let's talk about reprints. So one of the things that I was thinking about with this that I sort of wanted to stay away from was restoration games, right? Because their whole thing is reprinting, and that feels kind of like cheating. Although, if we want to weigh in on like a old-timey game that could use the restoration treatment, that would be kind of fun as well later on. So we'll do that sort of at the end. But not counting the kitschy side of things where restoration comes in, reprints have been getting a lot of love lately. Like there's all of a sudden a whole bunch of them that are happening. Key Market is coming back out. That's kind of a big deal. What was the other one that
Castle?
Dune.
Yeah, Dune. That was the other one that I was thinking.
Dune, yeah.
That's although to be fair, Dune already kind of did get a reprint in Rex.
Yeah,
but it's not the same game.
Dune, that's not the same. Yeah.
All right,
but
I've
I
never played either one, so I couldn't speak to.
Yeah,
I couldn't speak to that personally. I've also never seen the movie Dune in its entirety, which I feel like is a knock against my geek cred, but whatever. I don't know. For some reason, I've just never. I get the references, but I've never actually seen the movie.
I was in my 30s before I saw Star Wars, any of them.
Yeah, see, and that's and that's a whole nother topic about how somehow it's not okay if you haven't seen certain things. And Ben is going to give me a lot of crap for saying that because I give Ben a lot of crap for stuff that I'm always amazed he hasn't seen. But
Ben's pretty young, right?
Ben is pretty young, and that's part of it. So, all right, so let's talk about reprints. Specifically, I kind of want to spend a lot of time talking about games that we want to get reprinted, because I don't, quite frankly, know enough about the industry side of things, and I don't want to start speculating. The only thing I can say is that I feel like there has to be, I don't know what the recipe is for a publisher to decide they want to reprint something. And we could take educated guesses, but does anybody feel like they actually know amongst us, or even in the chat room?
I think a fair amount of it is due to personal desire. So, there's that.
Okay.
I mean, well, yeah, I was looking at some of the games that I have on my stack behind me that I thought were rare and just looked up what their values were.
Yep.
And, if a game's going for $150 in the secondary market, there's got to be
some reason for
a market for it.
Yeah.
And a publisher would probably want to search something out like that.
I would think so.
And reprinted. Now we know why Glory to Rome's not going to be reprinted because of the entanglement of the license. So that's not going to be very reprinted. That's why things like Montanai and whatever and other variants of it exist.
Can we pause for a second? Let's actually, I know, I don't.
Okay.
So let's actually say that out loud because I think this is a good case study of why some games won't get reprinted. This is not the only game that has been in this loophole.
Well, Cambridge Games went basically bankrupt because they promised free shipping worldwide with that Kickstarter. And
the Kickstarter did very, very well.
Kickstarter did very well. And Chuddick was involved as the designer and refuses because he didn't get compensated or whatever, refuses to give that license to anybody else because of that fiasco, and just basically refuses to give away Glory to Rome to anyone else because of the fiasco that went down with the original publishing through Cambridge Games.
Okay.
Of the Black Box edition.
Gotcha.
So
that game is forever going to be in.
That's the story. I mean, maybe somebody will, but he's kind of often wherever, Asia somewhere now, right? And doing his thing and whatever he wants. So I think he's doing okay, doing other things.
Sure. Yeah, I have no idea.
But that's kind of the short story version of that.
The other reprint story that I thought was fascinating, and this was one of the great examples, in my opinion, of how sometimes big problems turn out okay, was the Merchant of Venus reprint.
Yeah,
years ago, because that was a nightmare that somehow had a happy ending, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, that was one that was a bit of a fiasco that got worked out.
Yeah, so there were two different people that thought I'll just tell the story real fast. There were two different rights holders that believed that they owned the rights to the game. Fantasy Flight was one of them, and the other one was the designer, I believe, still thought he had the rights to compete. And when Fantasy Flight announced that they were going to move forward, somebody else did too, and both of those companies showed at Essen, and that was where they found out the other one was working on it. It was sort of, it all happened kind of in the public eye and went kind of nuts all of a sudden. And the happy resolution of it was that Fantasy Flight did the reprint, but also included the rules to the original game with their version. So basically, you got both of them in the one box, which I thought was kind of awesome.
Right.
So it doesn't always go wrong, right? Like, and that's the nice thing about this is sometimes the problems work themselves out and sometimes they don't. So all of these that we're going to talk about, we are assuming happy rights situations, right? Like everything we're going to talk about today, we're just throwing it out there. Don't include any. We're not including anything where we know it won't work. So, like for instance, in the Opinionated Gamers article, one of the things that was listed was Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit. That'll just never happen,
right?
Because the Star Wars rights are.
But you know that everyone, I haven't played it, but the Star Wars Risk is supposed to be a variant of that.
Yeah, it's basically whatever Risk Black or
it's on my shelf. I've just not played it.
Yeah.
And if anyone does it, Restoration could. You know, that's probably on their list of must-haves.
Sure. But I guess what I'm saying is, let's take the whole idea of rights out of the equation.
Yes.
Just talk about based on gameplay what we want to see.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just go down the list and name one at a time and talk about it real fast. Brandon, I want you to know that before you got on, I said I wanted to do it first so that way I could steal one from you, because I know one of the ones that I assumed you would say. But now I'm going to let you go first, and if you don't say it, then I'm definitely going to say it.
Well, I mean, you've named two of the big ones, like the big Grail reprints that people want, right? The Glory to Rome, and everybody wants Queen's Gambit. So I think the other one is, oh God, now why will I never remember the name? Hero Quest has to be the other that kind of everybody wants, that's never going to be gotten because of the ties to publishing and all that crap, right? So I've never played it.
I'm sorry.
Neither have I.
So, but I just know that it's one of those that everybody just always. It's one of the first that it's always mentioned whenever somebody thinks that they want. You know.
I think a lot of people play kids, though. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm being selfish. Can you repeat the game name? You cut out right.
It was Hero Quest.
Hero Quest. Thank you. You cut out right when you said it, and I'm like,
yeah, I think I stuttered because I was buying time because I forgot what it was called.
Gotcha.
And then I went like Hero. So,
one of my all-time favorite board gaming memories was playing Hero Quest at a game day when I was a teenager. And we ended up playing. We inadvertently turned what was supposed to be like a 2-hour game into a 12-hour game marathon, and we watched the sunrise, having still played Hero Quest all night.
And I'm sure you get a lot of that with a lot of these games that people want reprints of, right?
Yeah.
And you know, they're never going to live up to that.
Mm-hmm.
They're never gonna have that kind of feeling again, I don't think. But yeah, no. Hero Quest would be the first one I'll mention. And I hope I ruined your plan, Bill.
Nope, you sure didn't.
You didn't.
Nope. I even told them what it was going to be.
Okay.
All right.
I have a feeling it's sitting behind Patrick. So.
Is it sitting behind Patrick? Let me look.
Yes.
It sure is.
It is.
I don't
we were
care
all
about
going to
that
talk
one,
about
honestly.
the same damn game.
You know why I don't care about it?
Because you already own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you brat.
Geekopolis is the one that I was going to say. I think that is one of the most unique Euro games I've ever played. No other game that I can think of is anything like it. And I don't get to play it very often because I don't own a copy. And nobody that I know owns a copy within my game group, or at least has told me that they own a copy. So I never get to play.
In the corner.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But,
or they just
available online.
Or they just keep it in their basement on shrink.
Every time I play Gink, I have to stop and sort of halfway relearn it because the gaps are always huge between the two plays. Yeah. And I am always just in love by about the 2/3 point when the rules have all finally clicked. And so it's this awful feeling of I'm relearning one of my favorite games over and over and over again, which kind of sucks. And so I would like to see that game reprinted because I think it is a really, really excellent design. with with really good balance and lots of paths to victory. I think the art could be redone a little bit better. And personally, I don't hate the current art, but I'm saying it could be refreshed for a reprint, and that would be kind of okay. But other than that, I think it's perfect the way that it is. I don't think it needs any.
And it's one that has been rumored to have a reprint.
I was gonna say,
I heard some earlier this year.
Yeah, I thought Renegade
Sebastian
was
over at Pearl has Sebastian over. Well, maybe eventually, I don't know. But Sebastian over at Pearl has kind of talked about it back and forth, and just
I don't know. I thought Renegade was so.
They may have. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
I may have information I'm not supposed to share, and that I just did. So. Yeah, that wouldn't be the first time I've done that on this show.
Nice. Yeah, but I hate playing games online, Patrick. We've talked about it.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there because I've played this with people online.
I would play it online with you, Patrick.
I would play it online with you too. I would just grumble about it the whole time I was there.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's, we can walk away from it and wait for you to play too, so we don't have to hear you grumbling.
No, I just want to play. I want to play it all at once with a chat. I don't want to play AC.
Play a freaking tile.
Yes, thank you. Async sucks. That's what I mean.
Like I would async.
No, neither am I. It sucks all the fun of the game for me. So, all right. So that was my first one. It was game.
Woohoo.
Kimberly, what's yours?
It's me, the Boca, which is conveniently placed behind our Patrick's head. I am the proud owner of a copy of the Boca because that lovely gentleman right there acquired one for me that he found at a game store. But the Boca is just such a good group game. You have 6 players. It's perfect.
That's the one where you have to put pieces so that way when you view it from one side or the other, you can see the pattern that's on the card, right?
Yes, communication.
Yeah, you have to communicate. Yeah, and the force perception, you can only see your side to make a communal object, and it's timed, and it's just pure chaotic goodness.
I have always wanted to play that game, and I've never had the chance.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, it's one of my favorite. You have 6 people play a games.
And I feel like whenever this, you were talking about how when the secondary market prices spike, I think one of the other measuring sticks is if you hear people say, "God, I've always wanted to play that game, but ... It seems like that's one of those games that this comes up for pretty regularly as well.
I just threw out, hey, you can play Gink online. Another thing is like games like this that you can't just recreate it online, right?
No, because it's got the 3D component.
It's got 3D components and that communication factor and that speed factor. It's not something you can just remake. Like, we talked a little bit, I think, so far about Castles of Burgundy. I can't remember the last time I played it online. Even if they come out with a new and improved version, I don't even know if I'll actually pick it up because I played on the app. I just played it like a game today with Nathan Boster. And Eric and I play, and I don't even think I know how to play the rules. Someone was in the chat room talking about it earlier. Like, I don't even know what the rules are. Like, I don't know how to set up a board. And
that's the thing, right? When you play online, that's me with Kanban. It's one of my favorite games. I played it on the table Saturday, and I was like, oh crap, there are the auto things that me and Sandra does that I can't ever remember because I play it online usually, and it's done for me.
Right.
I mean, we could have a whole nother conversation about the effects that digital gaming has on cardboard gaming and vice versa.
Yeah,
for sure.
Now, Patrick, which game are you going to talk about?
I've got 2 games on my shelf that I'm going to pick from, either of them, and they're both going for about $150 on the secondary market, and I love them both. They are the adventure games.
Okay.
These are Imagine Indiana Jones, the board game. So I have the temple, the pyramid of Chalk, and the temple or whatever. I can't remember their names. They're the adventures.
Temple of Chalk, the first one. Pyramid of Horus.
Pyramid of Horus. Thank you. So the first one, you're literally doing Indiana Jones, right? You start off and you're running down this corridor, and the corridor is about to crush you, and there's a boulder chasing you through this maze, and then you have to hop over the tiles that are on lava, and then jump through a river. And carrying too much treasure slows you down, so it's got to push your luck element, and it's Ameritrash all the way. Push your luck. it's got player elimination, but your secondary character can jump in through a hole in the roof and join the fray if you wanted to. They're just awesome. And I forget the second one is you're entering a tomb, and there's rocks falling from the tomb that like randomly fall in spaces and might trap you inside the temple, and then mummies that jump out and try to attack you. So both of them are just ridiculously. It's kind of the same as Cleopatra. They're in that era of overproduction, with lots of crazy plastic parts and just a lot of silly fun.
I used to own the first one, Temporal Shock, and I played it with a friend of mine and her two sons, and they really enjoyed it. And so I gifted them the game because it was one of those games that wasn't getting played at my house. And now I look back and I'm like, oh, well, congratulations on your $150 game that you now have that you definitely don't know you have and have probably lost half the pieces to, is my guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I almost want to call her and be like, hey, you still have that game that I gave you that I guarantee you haven't played in 5 years? Cool. Can I have it back?
Yeah.
No, that's probably rude, but I kind of want to do it.
Yep.
Bill, did you know that they reprinted Fleur de Mummy, whatever, basically?
Fleur de Mummy?
Yeah, there we go. Fleur de Mummy.
But
It's called Pyramid, right?
No, they have an ice cool version of it.
What?
Oh,
The Pyramid of Penguin.
Yeah.
It's back there somewhere.
Yeah. The little penguins. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I want it so bad.
I saw it at PAX East and I was like, wait, this game already existed.
That game, Fleur de Mummy, the original version of it, Christopher Darden from the Geekway to the West Coast. When the first year I went to Geekway, said, hey, Bill, by the way, you need to go play this.
There we go.
Oh, Pyramid Penguin.
Yeah,
I saw that at some convention. That looked awesome.
It's cute.
It is ridiculously fun. It is it is a gimmick taken to a really logical conclusion, and I sort of love it because you move. Now we have to talk about it. You move. One person is the mummy or whatever the hell it is in that version. I have no idea. And the other people are adventurers trying to race around and steal stuff. And the mummy can only see where he is because he's moving on a vertical board, and he is a magnet, and he has another magnet on the other side of the board.
You've described that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of Bill's Grail games. That's why I remember.
It is a Grail game, yes, for sure. Although I honestly I almost think I would rather have the Fleur de Mummy version just because I love the theme of the mummy chasing people around. They can see the mummy, but the mummy can't see them.
You can get the penguin version for like $20. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I get it.
And it's just a penguin mummy, for crying out loud.
It is. It's a penguin.
Just a penguin.
It's a penguin mummy. Wonderful.
I mean, and that's all well and good. I love that game. If you ever find a copy of it, and even if you don't ever buy it, if you see it in a library at a convention, check it out and play it for an hour. You will not be disappointed.
I'll try to remember to play it at BTG if I have it.
There you go. Yeah, I'm going this year. I'm very excited.
As am I.
I even have a room figured out.
Me too. Like a reasonable adult.
It's a very. I don't know. I don't think I'm staying with a reasonable adult. Am I? Patrick is my roommate. I'm not sure.
Oh, I am my own roommate because I don't like people.
Oh, that's fair. You like us. We're people.
I do. Like, no, I just haven't looked for a roommate yet because I was like, I got a room, bitches.
There's our first swear word.
Yeah, that's why.
No, she swore a minute ago. You just didn't catch it.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
I've been so good. I'm proud of it.
Kimberly, what is the next game you think should be reprinted? We're doing Snakeback.
Tobago.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that game.
Awesome.
I love that game. I have that game. I get to turn the things.
That is there. I've been sort of making this mental list of 10 games that I really need to play again because maybe I was in a bad headspace when I tried them. El Grande, as an example, is on that list, and Tobago is another one. So
I really like deduction games, and Tobago just does it really well.
Mm-hmm.
I was really hopeful
it's
that
reverse
Cryptid would be as
deduction.
good, but it's not. Cryptid has too much room for human error.
Yeah.
And I've played Cryptid like 6 times now, and 4 of those times have been screwed up because somebody didn't understand their rule.
Yikes. Okay.
So Tobago is a cleaner, easier version, I think.
The short version is you're looking for a treasure chest and people are playing clues that will narrow down where it could possibly be until eventually there's only one location and then everybody races to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the game works. And then I haven't explained the mechanics, but that's the idea. Okay.
And you get to turn the cool statue.
Yeah.
Oh, the Moai? I will say that even though I didn't love the game, the components were amazing. I remember the first time I saw it on a table.
Again, it's got palm trees and deeples and the Easter Island heads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker. Okay, has it come clear to you guys? I am a sucker for toys.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, gimmick games. The Fireball Island has proven that you are not alone.
Yeah, Fireball Island is definitely that.
As long as there's a game there, right? I mean, there's still a game to most of this stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, there's definitely a game to Tobago. It's clever. It plays well. It can be played online, but you don't get to spin the things yourself then. And I don't know. And it goes for a lot of. I got my copy for $22 at the G2S auction, and then promptly was like, I wonder how much this is online, so I could get a copy for a friend, and it was $100 and something.
Yeah, I'm seeing Tobago for in the 50s. So
that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I like I said, I need to try it again. Well, maybe this can be. You know what? Maybe BGG can be the intervention where you people can all find games that you know that you like and I supposedly don't like, and you can just make me play them, and we can get all the grumpledness out of the way. We'll play an El Grande, we'll play Tobago, we'll play all the. I can play Glory to Rome again. Maybe you can like Dragon.
BGG stand for Bill's Grumpy Gaming?
Bill's Grumpy Gaming. There you go. I like it. We'll spend one day just seeing how much you can fit in my cornflakes. It'll be great. So, all right. My second one. Look at me trying to keep things on task.
I've never been more proud of you.
I like it. My second game is one that I just played recently, which is The Colonists. This has only been out of print for a couple of years, but it's out of print for a big reason, because Mayfair Games, the printer, no longer exists. Now, Mayfair was purchased by Lookout, and Lookout has the rights to it, so maybe it will get a reprint through Lookout, but it also didn't sell particularly well when it came out. And right now, you can get copies of it in the aftermarket for like maybe $35. Like I bought my dad a copy of it for, I think, $25 off of the Geek Market, maybe a month and a half ago, because he loved it. I think the biggest hurdle this game has is its long play time if you're going to play all four eras, and I think that's its biggest issue. But I think that I always feel like it's worth the time that I have spent once I get it to the table. I taught it to a bunch of friends of mine just last week, and they both said we played for 7 hours, played all four eras, and we took a break in the middle for a meal. And they said that they had never felt 7 hours pass by so quickly at a game table. So, and to me, that is about as high a praise as you can get for a big epic game, is when you're playing that long and everybody's excited that it goes fast. So, Paul and Tom are both talking about the Fabled expansion, which was supposed to add eras 5 through 8.
That way you can play it for an entire week.
Yes.
Nothing would make me happier than being able to sit and just play Colonists all week. That would be amazing.
I mean, you know that G2S, that's
I was just going to say, to be fair, you can still pick this one up. It's still a cool stuff. It's still available on Amazon.
Yeah.
And the Colonists runs into that problem with reprints that it just didn't sell that great.
It did.
And there's that demand, people want it and things like that, and they talk about it big, but then nobody buys them, right?
Right.
And that's why people are so shy about doing a lot of these reprints that are kind of in these niche little areas.
I 100% agree. I don't think that, I'm not saying that I guess I want it to get a reprint because I think it's a good game, and I think that there are a couple aspects of the game that could have been cleaned up. It could do with just the tiniest bit of development in a couple sticky spots. But in general, and so I would like to see I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to see a second edition of it.
There you go.
That's right.
Which sort of is the same thing. I feel like it's the same thing, so I'm sticking with it. All right,
show, Bill.
Number 2.
Does it come with an organizer?
Boy, no.
No.
The plastic bags and
Or even bags. Yeah, bags would be good.
Yeah.
Hey man, the custom insert secondary industry wants you to shut up because they like selling that stuff.
That's true.
Valid.
All right.
I'll just shove
Brandon,
it in
number
bags and let the box top stick up about that too far. It's fine.
Terrible. Terrible.
So since you guys kind of talked about a 3D kind of game with La Boca, why don't we talk about a Kramer and Kiesling one that pops up every now and then called Pueblo? Which is basically you're just building in the middle. Everybody's building in the center middle part of the board with these little polyominoes, but they're cubes and they're plastic and they're really neat. And you're basically just trying to build a Pueblo and not have your color seen. So you build with alternating colors, right? Your color and then a plain color, whatever you want to call it. So you try to hide what your color's in there. Because if somebody walks around the outside, the chief walks around and he sees your color, well, you lose points and you don't want points. Or you gain points and you don't want points. But it's a fantastic game. And in today's market, where everybody goes to Kickstarter to do things, something like Pueblo could be done really fun. And even maybe get me a Lazy Susan, which is the only detraction. That it's a game that needs a Lazy Susan because you're always turning the board around and looking at all the sides.
You can just buy those at a store.
Yes, I know, but it would be so much more fun.
My friend who owns the Board Game Cafe got one for me to play the Climbers.
Yep. I don't own a copy, or else I probably would have bought a Lazy Susan. Yeah, so.
My friend Randy has a square.
Who is Susan and why is she so lazy?
Goodness. He has a square table that has a Lazy Susan built into the surface of it, which is really cool, except for the fact that it doesn't also have a topper, so that way you don't have the Lazy Susan. So if you try to play a game on that table that doesn't want the Lazy Susan and anybody accidentally pushes a thing, it screws all.
Yeah. I guess if I wanted to play it,
Carcassonne on it. Let's put it that way.
I guess if I ever wanted to play Pueblo, I could just always go to my favorite little Chinese restaurant that has those tables with Lazy Susan. And then I'd play that, eat some Chinese food, and that'd be good.
Carry it into the Chinese restaurant. Oh, not you again, man.
I just want to play Pueblo, man. Just want to play Pueblo.
There you go. All right, so we were doing Switchback. Do you have a third one? Because I wanted everybody to...
A third one? Yeah, I could come up with one. What is another one we kind of mentioned? Right. You said Ginkopolis. Oregon. I can go first. How about Oregon? Isn't that another Mayfair one?
I think that's a state.
Yes, I believe it was.
It's a fun little majority area control kind of game. When you think about those entry-level 60-minute kind of Euros with area control in it, I've always thought of Oregon. I kind of came into gaming, I think, right when it came out, and so it kind of holds a little spot there for me. But there's nothing horribly special about it, but there's also a lot of worse crap being printed now. So
valid. Why not overproduce the everything?
Yep.
Sure, why not?
And who doesn't like meeples with cowboy freaking hats?
Never once have I heard him referred to as cowboy freaking hats.
Cowboy freaking hats.
Cowboy freaking hats. Freaking cowboy hats, I've heard.
Well, you could do that too.
Nice. All right. My third one is Wealth of Nations, which was done by Table Star Games, who I don't think even exist anymore. And I adore this game. And another one that I think is kind of super underrated. This is the closest thing to a pure economy. Well, maybe not the closest thing. It's a pure economy game with a very abstracted look. You basically create groups of tiles that your country owns. And those tiles, when you put them together, will form complete dots. And every complete dot you see generates one of whatever it is. So it could be food or energy or labor, just straight up money in some cases, et cetera, et cetera. Capital is one of the things that isn't money. It's very strange. It's a very cool, weird game that has a really interesting methodology of determining, like, like a real economy, every industry is sort of dependent on the other industries around it, and so there forms a sort of symbiosis where if there is a lack of something in the game, you are incentivized to produce it, which makes for a really interesting table dynamic, especially at the higher player counts. It plays 3 to 6. BGG thinks it's best at 4. I personally think it's best at the full 6, and it absolutely wants the expansion that came out for it, because that expansion basically was a hot fix because there were some issues with it. So I would love to see a second edition of this with slightly better components, maybe a little bit more theme put onto the actual look of the game, because it looks like some psychotic polka dot nightmare on the table, and people walking by. It's one of those games where when people walk by, they go, "Oh, what are you playing?" And you still can't explain this one. Like it takes 5 minutes to even point to things and be like, "Yes, this is producing labor." And they're like, "I'm sorry, what?" And it just takes forever. So I think it could use a little bit more theme in
Does it need that tool magic?
Does it need what?
Tool magic. The art designed to clean it up so that it's easier to show.
Yeah, it could definitely do with some good, some better graphic design. But the components in the game that still exists, it hasn't been in print for a while, but the components that come with it now aren't terrible. It's just the art isn't great. Everything else worked out pretty well. It's such a good game. But yeah, I love Wealth of Nations. I remember teaching it to a friend who loved it so much, but he couldn't get a copy, that he literally homebrewed himself a copy because he fell so hard in love with it. I think it's a great game, especially if you're into heavy economic games. I think this is a good one to seek out if you find it. Yeah, this is a good one to seek out when you get a table of at least 4. I don't think I would want to play it with fewer than 4. And so I think four people that really like that kind of game would really dig it. So that is Wealth of Nations.
I've heard of that one.
You have a third one?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, generally I want to complain about Splatter's printing cycle, but I've been looking for
everything Splatter ever did.
But in reality, for reprints, I really like Downfall of Pompeii, and I believe that is out of print and has been for quite some time.
Yep.
Yet another Mayfair game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Mayfair is gonna come up a lot in these lists in other people's minds too.
It's Chad. There's just something wonderful / terrible about Downfall of Pompeii. Historically, obviously, it's awful when you're throwing people in the volcano, but
It definitely is the dark humor board game.
It's the dark version of Carcassonne.
Yeah,
my children really like it because they can throw each other into the volcano. Yep. We put the little battery operated LED teacup lights in there with the fake flickering. And
nice.
They're fans. So yeah.
I'm a little bit embarrassed that I have never thought of the idea of putting a battery operated tea light inside that volcano.
I saw somebody else's picture online right around when I got the game, and I've done it ever since.
That's just brilliant. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and that is another game that is just a really solid and interesting game that there are not very many games like in the world. Because it plays in 2 phases, right? The first half of the game, you're putting all of your people out onto the board for sort of an area control thing. And then the second half of the game, when the volcano erupts, you're frantically trying to get your dudes out the door. And meanwhile, people are getting, run over by lava at the streams.
You've got the good tile placement, and it's just so good.
Yeah,
it finds a lot of really clean, easy mechanics in a game. It's an easy teach. It goes over well with a group, varying groups of people for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a good one.
Is Palaces of Carrara not? I think Palaces of Carrara is published. Again, Chad, it's just called something else now.
Oh, it got rethemed. Yeah, one of the games that I thought I originally had in the back of my head for this list, I then did a little bit of BGing and realized was in print too, is Nick Debona. I think that happens more often than we know. There you go. Patrick, you got a third one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Terre up here at the top. This is a Chris Haney game. It is set in the Cinque Terre, which is like 5 cities in Italy, which is just kind of a beautiful setting. And it's a pick up and deliver. You're driving these cute little carts around Italy, picking up fruits and berries and bananas and weird goods. It's just a pick up and deliver. I like pick up and delivers. I like the theme. I like the area. I think that's what attracts me to it more than anything. And just the cute little go-karts. You're driving these little Vespas with little motor scooters with with little boxes on the back of them to pick up and deliver your goods. I like Chris Haney in his games. He does a little good job. And it's kind of one of his early designs. Yeah, it's a quick. Thomas mentioned it's a quick teach little game. It's Rio Grande, which is you don't hear much from anymore, so you'll probably never see it again either.
Sure.
And that makes me so sad because there was definitely a time not so long ago when if Rio Grande came out with a game, everybody paid attention. They were the company that was like, oh wow, they've got a thing. It's going to be good. You pretty much knew that whatever it was going to be, and then just all of a sudden. I wonder if there's a story there. Pack and Stack.
Oh, that's was another one I was gonna. So it's like Tetramino's. It's like a speed Tetramino 3D building.
You're trying to fit stuff in your truck, right?
Yeah, you're stacking a truck, trying to get it to move, and you have like a little pattern card that you flip up, and you've got to match the pattern card and. I always joke about it anytime we have to do moving. Like we moved Alan out of his apartment this weekend, so we played real life Pack and Stack.
Real life Pack and Stack, nice. Yeah, yet another Mayfair title. Like I feel like you could hammer on Mayfair. We could just talk about 10 Mayfair games that we would like to see.
Oh, I've got Iron Dragon, 2 copies of Iron Dragon sitting next to me. I have the original, and then I bought the newer version when they went out of business, just because I wanted to have the second one just in case.
Yeah.
It's still available. Sure. It's still, I'm not, I didn't put it on the list because it's available, but.
Yep. For sure. I just want to call back to something that Paul said in the chat a few minutes ago, and we didn't, is that let's bear in mind that all of the stuff we're talking about is sort of a dream list.
Yes.
Most of the things that we're talking about, we recognize the fact that the odds of them actually getting reprinted are pretty light, right? Like it would be lovely if it happened, but I don't think anybody really expects any of these. It's just that would be a nice surprise to see. This is just more sort of a wish list and us reminiscing about games that we wish we could introduce to more people.
I never thought Cleopatra was going to get reprinted. I was stunned when I heard that this year. So,
I guess
definitely an odd one.
You think so? Because I guess I always kind of thought it would get reprinted because it was Days of Wonder. For some reason, the Days of Wonder stuff never really crossed my mind as not eventually coming back.
Okay.
But
sorry.
I expect Cargo Noir because that game might be terrible. But all the rest of them, I don't know. That game's pretty bad.
I've never played it.
So if you are watching this in the future and you have games that you would like to weigh in on, please send them to cubistpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear back from you folks. We got a lot of feedback last week, and we have been enacting it. The new start time for everybody. I think we're gonna stick over. Shadows over Camelot. See, Days of Wonder. That's what I'm talking about. And Alan Moon's game. All right,
considered it sitting right over there.
What?
I'm such a horrible collector.
Brandon, you're being that guy. What is Alan Moon's?
Oh, I thought you would have an opinion on that one. Because there's two.
What Alan Moon's
there's two. You should say, right? Shouldn't we see Elfenland?
I'm sorry.
Elfenland would be
what about Mother Effing Time Pirates?
No. You can get Elfenland.
You can get the mix, right? The Elfin whatever roads.
Oh, I know what
the
you're
one
talking
that
about.
has Elfin roads in it.
Yeah.
I don't have
but also San Marco.
Yeah, San Marco was on the Opinionated Gamers list.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with it.
That's the one that ended up being our number one there.
Yeah.
Now, San Marco 2.0 is coming out soon, according to Chad in the chat.
Well, that's right. It's Aftershock. So That's what they're saying. It has some similarities. Paul will know about that.
Quick channel admin. Number one, we are going to at least stay on YouTube for the next couple weeks because I don't have time to work on the Twitch thing, and we want to keep the show moving. I don't want to take any more breaks. The breaks that we tried to take while Bill, basically it's my fault. It has nothing to do with anybody else on the channel. It's all me. I have not had enough time to do what I want to do technically, so we're going to stick with.
You are human.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on. This is my last travel of the foreseeable at least couple months. So finally, I can calm down a little bit. I'm really excited to not be on the road nonstop for a while. So we're gonna. Huh?
And I'm back on the road again, and not next week, the week after.
So we're gonna kind of go back to what has worked for the last 3 years for at least the next foreseeable future. So thank you to everybody that went out of their way. I know that some people did go out of their way to create Twitch accounts and subscribe, and I really appreciate all of that. Thank you. Your efforts have not been completely wasted. It probably will eventually happen. And worst case scenario, I will start creating some content on Twitch. It's just the combination of the live stream with multiple parties in a user-friendly format so we can get guests on, and Twitch and OBS is just like one bridge too many for me to figure out right now until I have time to actually sit down and deal with all of it. So we'll just stick with what we got. The new start time is always going to be 8:30. I like this. This seems to work pretty well. So I think it's 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern. This seems to work better for a couple of the folks that like watching the show and usually have to bail early. Maybe it'll help our hosts not have to lose quite so much sleep, since 3/5 of us are East Coast folks anyway. So it'll help the host folks out a little bit.
East Coast
overall. Yeah, well, you know. It'll help me get to bed at a reasonable hour too. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, Bill's in the East Coast now.
Oh no, he is.
I am East Coast at the moment. Yes. So,
4/4 of us are East Coasters right now.
Oh,
or 3/4. No, where are you, Brandon? You're Central.
Brandon's
3/4.
Me no good with math.
Hard apparently. Holy crap. Well, anywho, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern is going to be the official start time for the foreseeable future. So tune in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, chat room, for being here. I normally say hello to the chat at the beginning of the show, and I got all distracted by whatever weirdness was going on with our original conversation. Chat room, you are awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I'm really missed this. I know that it was my fault that we didn't have the show for a few weeks, and boy, howdy, do I miss being able to talk with all of you. So thanks for being here. Thank you, co-hosts, for being here. Love all of you. Next week will be the first Monday of the month, so there will be an After Dark. Hell or high water. I don't care if I just have to sit here and make butt jokes.
And I'm going to talk about butts after dark.
Oh, yes, and we're probably going to talk about butts. Yes, Paul, I did not forget. We are a proud member of Punchboard.
Wow. We all bring something to the table. I'm the worst board member. I don't ever remember that. Yeah.
No. Okay, Chad. I am the internet. I am tethered to my phone. I am not using the actual. Yeah, I wish I could have been at Hoopla. That would have been lovely. Unfortunately, I was here instead. Yay. Anyway, thank you so much for everybody for joining us. Have a great week of gaming. We will catch you all again next week for a full show and After Dark. Woo! Peace out.
Night.
Say goodbye.
Bye.